Hi, I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Healing Path, and today I want to do a short video on how massage can help chronic pain, chronic issues in our bodies. Now, I recently got a diagnosis of a herniated disc, and based off of the pattern in my pain and in my body and issues I've had with my back, this is something I've had for a long time. And a question that often comes up from clients is like, hey, how did I get this? And as I look at my own pain, it can be really hard to pinpoint how this happened in my body. Now, there's a couple things that kind of can trigger an injury, but what actually caused the initial injury can be very challenging to decipher. So in my own body, I did pedicures for, I think, 15 years, right? So it's a lot of bending over. It's a lot of that position that L4 and L5 doesn't like to be in. And I spent years and years doing that. And I always would get stiff and would experience some low back issue, but never anything big. And then, of course, I bike ride too. Now, although bike riding should keep a neutral low back spine, often as we get tired or lazy, we tend to hunch. And you're not really supposed to do that on a bike. But a big thing that happened for me that really triggered this injury is I had a hammock injury and my tailbone broke my fall. And that was about 3 or 4 years ago. And so, although it wasn't really big at that time, I did notice since that injury, progressively my back was getting better, or worse. Sorry, my back pain was getting worse, but it's still only something that would affect me once a year for about 2 months. And then when it comes to this year, it just got so bad that I said, okay, this is really bad. And that's when I got my diagnosis. Now, it's possible I've had this issue kind of flare up. So just because it doesn't affect you all the time does not mean it's not a chronic condition. This is definitely something that's chronic for me, even though it only affects me 2 months out of the year. And I don't know why it only kind of flares up once a year. Usually something aggravates it. And I can usually pinpoint what that is. Something will aggravate an old injury, but that doesn't mean it's a new injury. This is still a chronic issue that I'm always having in the same spot with my low back. Now, I've also had issues that are not chronic. They're just occasional or even stress. So my neck, in this area, my upper trap area, the neck is what I hold my stress in. So if I'm stressed out about something, generally it's going to happen to my neck. And that can be emotional stress or physical stress, but a lot of times it's just like my stress kind of positions itself in my neck. Now, for me, myofascial release gets rid of it like that. It's great. 1 session and I'm done. My back, not so simple. So there's also a difference between injuries in our own body and what we need to work through them. Like I said, my neck, I'm usually not able to knock out pretty quickly. And then I have to deal with, okay, what I have to then deal with the stress so it doesn't just keep coming back. And I always give the example of the fact that I hate cleaning so much. And I used to do it all in one day. And doing it all in one day, I used to make Friday mornings was cleaning day. And I was like, throw out my neck. Friday morning, and it happened at least 5, 6 times a year. I'm like, what is going on? And I said, I have to clean the house, and now I can't because I have to spend all morning fixing my own neck. Taking Epsom salt bath, hot packs, aromatherapy, whatever it is, and then scheduling an appointment for the next few days, within the next few days. And then I realized, oh my goodness, it's because I don't want to clean my whole house in one day. And since recognizing and acknowledging that point of stress for me, and then spreading out my cleaning now throughout the entire week so I don't have to do 4 or 5 hours and I'm only doing an hour a day has significantly changed it. So I actually haven't had that issue in years. So that's something that was very easy. But now my back, that was a tough one, right? My back, I've actually gotten stuck on the ground. It's actually seized up on me. Now, I went to a chiropractor and they adjusted me and they gave me some exercises to do. But that's not the only thing that helps my back. The back still wouldn't get better with just those things. And then doing myofascial release within itself, that helps, but it doesn't completely fix it. So my point is, massage is very helpful. And I will say with both my neck and my low back, traditional Swedish massage never touches it. That's just me. It just never, like, it feels good while I'm receiving it, and then at the end of the session I go, oh my God, I still have this neck pain, or I still have this back pain. It's still there. Now, if I just have muscle fatigue, let's say I went for a bike ride and my quads are sore, just traditional Swedish massage and sports massage feels great on my body. But if it comes to these kind of bigger issues, Swedish massage or even trigger points, hot stones, I've tried so many modalities. Hey, I'm even trained in 10 of them. Never really held a candle to working with the fascia. So in my body, fascia is the route to go to heal pain. Now that may not be your thing. You may not need myofascial release. You may need trigger point. You may need, I'm trying to think of something else. You may need an alternation of hot and cold, like hot and cold stone massage. By the way, I love that combination together. You may need craniosacral therapy. You may need Thai massage. Like, everybody's body's different in what you need to work through your injury. So just because myofascial release is what helps me and my clients, and I have a feeling it's because they're attracted to my services because that's what they need, doesn't mean that's what your body's going to need. And again, whenever I have the neck test, the only thing that ever helped me is getting myofascial release done on it, and traditional massage never really helped it. So that's just me and my body, and many, many, many bodies, but not everybody. And I don't like to follow the suit of one modality can help everybody. Okay, let's calm our egos down a little bit. Not everyone's created equal. Not injuries are not all created equal. So let's get back to these chronic conditions in the back. Now, I've had a lot of clients come to me with chronic conditions, and the difference between a chronic condition as opposed to something that's more acute, doesn't happen very often, different triggers, things like that, is I find it needs like what word am I looking for? A box, a collection of modalities to help you work through that. Now, with my herniated disc, myofascia was in there. Chiropractic was in there, but I think it was more that I really needed the exercises, not necessarily the adjustments, although the adjustments were fine. And I really like the chiropractor that I go to because, yeah, I just like his approach to chiropractic. But at the same time, he said, I don't think myofascial release or massage is going to help, but keep doing it. And I'm like, how could it not help? Like, yeah, the herniated disc is a disc issue, but then you have compensatory patterns. Then you have fascia restrictions that are coming out of that. And then I had muscle spasms and not just cramps, because there's a difference between a muscle spasm and a cramp. It's like when your back completely locks up. So all these other things are going on. So just because it's a disc issue doesn't mean the muscles and the fascia around it aren't also responding to the injury. So usually there's a collective of modalities and techniques that each person needs, and it might be different. So for me, it's myofascial release, and like I said, I found a chiropractor that I really like, but then I also have an energy worker, and I also, our body remembers, our body stores feelings and traumas within it. Like, there's a great book, The Body Remembers. Like, we store all those things in it. So it's also me talking through feelings that are coming up through this. What memories or traumas, or even if it's just something like anger or not feeling safe. Like, this is in the root chakra area. So for me, I'm always like, okay, what basic needs aren't being met? So there's a lot that go through it. And yeah, for some of my clients, it's acupuncture, like getting myofascial release, and chiropractic and acupuncture. And every client kind of has their different toolbox of what they need for them. Like, for some people, it may be like dealing with nutrition, going to a nutritionist, because the way we eat can affect the inflammation in our body. And I'm not trained as a nutritionist, so I can't help you with that. So you got to talk to a professional about that. So there's all these different things and tools that we need to work through these chronic conditions. And yeah, I have lots of clients where they don't have a chronic condition. And again, one session and they feel better. They just come monthly to see me, and they don't have a big collective of people helping them with their issues. And then I definitely do have clients who have a chronic condition or some chronic pain within their body. They're not just coming to see me. The other advice I'm going to give is that as you're kind of creating this collectiveness to help you, and last year when I had my my herniated disc kind of act up in me, and that was different because it was October, November, and this year was it July and August or June and July? Probably somewhere in the middle. I know it wasn't during my birthday. I would remember that. So I think it was July and August, and there was lots of things that kind of triggered it. And interestingly enough, yoga doesn't feel good on my back anymore. So I have to be careful with what I do to my back based on my chronic condition, which is different than yoga. Maybe your jam, maybe your thing that really helps your chronic pain. So everyone is different. One person's medicine is another person's poison. So I'm just here as a massage therapist to be like, hey, have you tried this? And I may have a referral for you and I may not. And then it's your job to figure out, okay, what's helping me? Now, the one advice I will give is don't try everything at the same time. Maybe if you're going to come to see me to get myofascial release, or another therapist training myofascial release. And I do myofascial release in a couple different ways. I do train in John Barnes myofascial release, but then I also use cups. You're over there, you can't see them, but I also use cups to break down fascial restrictions and other techniques to help break up fascial restrictions. And I also like to use aromatherapy and hot stones and things like that. So I treat the fascia in a couple different ways. So yeah, trying myofascial release, but then waiting a week or two, because you're not going to feel the full results right away before you try something else, right? Because if you do it all the same week, you're like, I don't know, it works. Now I'm stuck in a protocol that's very expensive because I have to see so many therapists, and I'm not quite sure what's helping me. When I started getting the energy work done last November, someone's like, well, maybe it's just a placebo effect. I'm like, I've been doing other things for 2 weeks. Why didn't those work as a placebo effect? Why is this woman in what she's doing, and her name is Cindy Dodick. I've done an interview with her and exactly what we've done together. But why is she helping me if it was a placebo effect and I've gotten myofascial release, I've gotten dry needling, which did help. It's just so painful. I didn't want to do it this time. Dry needling, I've done all these other things and I'm still in pain, but I immediately feel a difference with her. So if it's a placebo, then how come that the placebo didn't work for those other modalities? So that's what I'm saying. It's nice to space things out so you can tell what's working and what's not working. And again, what works for me may not work for you in your chronic condition. Even if we both have herniated discs, it doesn't mean the same modalities and techniques are going to help both of us. So it's all about exploring your own body, listening to your body, trying to figure out what it needs in this moment. Of course, what it needs right now may not be what it needs next year, and just kind of playing and figuring that out. It's a fun exploration of self. So that's me. Thank you for joining me. Massage can definitely help chronic conditions, especially in my opinion, myofascial release. But you got to figure out which massage modality you need for your chronic condition, and more importantly, how often, and what combination of techniques do you need. So thank you for joining me again. I'm Elizabeth with Elizabeth's Healing Path. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for joining me.